I find that when you go on those journeys, there's something about the badness in it that you have to face in yourself. And it's whether you take the lesson. And if you don't take that lesson, you will meet it again.
Oscar-winning actor,
writer, director, producer.
Please welcome Daniel Kaluuya.
Anything I'm doing now, I've been told I can't do. I've been told I can't act. I've got to talk to some people, and they were like, you ain't gonna make it. I said, well, I think I can.
Before we jump into this episode, I'd like to invite you to join this community to hear more interviews that will help you become happier, healthier, and more healed. All I want you to do is click on the subscribe button. I love your support. It's incredible to see all your comments, and we're just getting started. I can't wait to go on this journey with you. Thank you so much for subscribing. It means the world to me.
The #1 health and wellness podcast.
Jay Shetty.
Jay Shetty.
The one, the only Jay Shetty.
I always like starting with this question because I think I'm intrigued to see where you take it. Like, what would you say is your earliest childhood memory that defines who you are today?
There was one, I grew up quite a fat kid, and then used to go scouts, Cubs and Scouts. You go into like, I don't know, some random place in the countryside, go into a camping or something, and then like there's potholes, you know about potholes?
Yeah.
When you go in there, boom, boom. It's like, I'm running through these potholes, and then like, I'm doing this pothole, boom, boom, going in. And like everyone starts laughing because I'm fat. So I was like, oh, like Dan's not gonna fit. And I got in there, and then halfway through it gets narrower and narrower, and I proper didn't. And they looked in. A bunch of kids were like, I must have been 9, 8. They were like, he's filled the whole thing. They're just laughing. And then I was like, all right, cool. I can't really go back. So it's only really, and I'm actually have filled it. So then I was like, all right, cool. And I just found a way I was just like, I knew how to like change my body and go, I'm gonna get out. I'm gonna do it. And then I realized they were laughing. And then as I was getting closer to the exit, they just stopped laughing. They stopped laughing. And then by the end, they clapped. And I think after that, I was like, right, yeah. I don't know. I look back and go, I think it really changed how I saw everything. My life, I go, bruv, what are you to me? Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like I kind of had that energy. I was like, just push through, just do what you're supposed to do. Just do what you're supposed to do, and you get to the end. And people that will say things that will tell you, say you're weird, say you're odd, by the end of it, not that they'll clap. You can make them, I don't know, it doesn't matter about them. It just matters about you getting there. You know what I'm saying? And I think a few years ago, before then, I really cared about the clap. Like, I really care, like, I'm going to make you clap. I'm pissed, but I'm going to make you clap. I think in that moment, I saw my character. I saw what I'm actually about in that moment. And yeah. And then they just respected me. Yeah. That's it. And in the end, it was what I gained respect. So yeah.
Yeah. And you think that still applies today?
In all ways. Yeah, man. Like, do you know how many people say you can't do something? Bruv, everything's made up. Shit, what
have you been told that you couldn't do?
Bruv, name it. Like anything I'm doing now, I've been told I can't do. I've been told I can't act. I wouldn't be able to make a career out of it. Connections. It was on Parkway, like in Camden. They were saying,
connections.
Yeah, they were like saying, and my mum was just stressed. Like, do you want to act? I got to talk to some people, and they were like, you ain't gonna make it. I said, well, I think I can. I must have been 15. I think I can, I said, no. So it's all that kind of stuff. Like, you're consistently kind of told that like it won't happen. And I just didn't believe that. So that's why I really would keep it secret, what I was doing, or my dreams, or my hopes, or like, even hopes, like what I see. Like, if I can see it, that means I can do it. So it's more that, like, everything like you're told you can't do. Even like being away from race, even the class that I've come from. Like, they're saying, oh, you can't do that. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, it's nuts. Like, I've always just been like, yeah. But then that was very much the mentality of my school. Like, it was basically like, all right, cool, you ain't got money. All right, cool, let's sell chocolate bars. All right, cool, let's sell crisps. All right, cool. It's just like, you got to make it work, no matter what. So I've always I feel like I've come from that cloth. Yeah.
Did you find that keeping it secret was useful?
Yeah, because it meant that I was able to fail in private and just grow at my own pace and have it, and understand. And basically what it was, I realized in hindsight, and acting and writing and all this kind of stuff, I realized I found what it meant to me. I found what my definition of it is. I found my style. I found what I liked. So it was mine. It wasn't like, oh, I got it from here, I got it from there. It was, no, this is what I think. This is how I've got to this. So that's like why I'm happy I did it. Because I felt like, in hindsight, I felt I was a bit too ahead of people that I was around in terms of what I was focused on. Because it's quite odd if I think back. I was like, yeah, no, I'm gonna do this art. Like, it's like, you mean, it's like no one in my family's doing it. No one's doing it.
Yeah.
But I just think I can. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's like, so I think it's that, yeah.
Yeah. Where did that belief come from at that age, at 15, to go, I can, even though no one's saying it? Like, where did that inspiration come from? Was it from what you were watching?
Fresh Prince.
Yeah.
I was watching like Wayans Brothers. I was watching like, I don't know, SpongeBob was a bit past my.
Simpsons, maybe?
Simpsons, Ed and Eddie. Like, I was watching live.
Ed and Eddie.
Yeah, I was watching live. Like, do you know what I'm saying? I wasn't really like, I don't know, I just believed. I don't know, I just kind of was like, no, I don't believe you.
Yeah.
I don't know you. Like, back in the day, I was like, say, I don't remember John Major,
yeah,
Prime Minister. Like, it was they said he told me to do something. I'm like, but I don't know him. How can someone I don't know tell me what to do? Yeah, kind of nuts. If I know someone, like, do you know what I mean? It's like,
yeah.
So that's why I was like, I just always, I realized, I'm blessed. I have faith, and I think I just have faith. And I realized, I read something the other day, and I think the difference between faith and delusion is God. And I'm not saying like, oh God, it's just like, I just have faith. Like, I just had faith. I just believed. And I think maybe I saw my family doing amazing things, like, not amazing things in the sense that like making something work or going for a holiday, or they just didn't accept. They were like, all right, cool, we've done, like, say they wanted to act, all right, cool, you can't afford that, but we can do this. They just pushed on. They didn't let the environment or the boundaries define what they thought was possible in their mind. So I think it was that really bit.
Yeah, I love that. I love hearing that your parents were saying yes and.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't like no, but it was yes and, right? It's so
my mum was just like, yo, what, like, how are we gonna do this? She would challenge me, always challenge me. And then I said, oh yeah, this is this. But I realized she was just like trying to test me if I really believed in it. And then again, like, I probably needed that. I did need that because I needed to know it I was aware of it. So then I was like, all right, cool, this is what's going to happen. And then she looked, okay, I believe you. All right, cool, let's go. Like, this is the way. I know this is the way. I know I can make it work. So I think it was just like, I just believed. I don't know where it comes from. I think it's just a gift, innit? I just try and honor it and try and do good with it. I don't try and like intellectualize it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get that, man. I get that. That makes sense. And obviously, like, I was watching your Hot Ones, which I loved.
Yeah.
And on there, you talked about how, like, you wrote your first piece when you were 9 years old. And I was thinking, it's amazing now because with the work that you're doing now with the kitchen and like production and writing, like, you're kind of almost doing this full circle piece. Why was writing where you started? Because I don't think a lot of people know that. Like, I didn't know that as well. Like, I've discovered you as an actor and loved your work. But like, what was it about writing that drew you to it at 9 years old? And tell us about that piece too.
I know. I don't know. I was at school one time. It's before this play competition, which is what I won at 9. I was at school one time, and the teacher told me to write something. And in my heart, I knew, oh, I can do this sick. I know I could do this sick, and I wrote something. I thought it was amazing. Yeah. And the teacher gave me a rubbish grade. I'm like, you're wrong. I think you're wrong. Like, I really like this. And then like that competition, it was just basically like, it was a playwriting course. They come to your school in Camden. Roy Williams, who's a really big playwright now, was a teacher then. Wow. And then like a teacher shamed me and was like, oh, like Daniel, you're messing about. I was mischievous, like, you're messing about. I'm like, no, I'm like, I don't like this. And then so I was like, all right, cool. And I was like, all right, cool, I'll show you. Then I wrote this play. It's based on Keenan and Kel, about these guys that work in the shop.
I love Keenan.
And they just had a friendship. And then like, I got to the next round. It was a couple of us in the next round. And then I would just write. And then those guys, Jonathan Siddle and Roy, were like, I knew at that time they knew, and I felt like they knew I had something because I just felt the energy in them. I was like, yeah, this is what I think. Because how do you think? I was like, I don't know. And then I won it. And then my whole school year came to Hampstead Theatre, watch it. It's in my Arsenal top. I got a picture now, just flexing. And then like, And then, yeah, I mean, they told me, like, keep going. I'm like, bro, I'm going to play out. I'm not going to write. And then I did a play for Roy Williams, Sucker Punch, like when I was 21. And I remember he told me after it, yeah, he was like, yeah, do you know that like the teachers didn't want to pick you? They were like, don't, he's too bad. Don't, he's too bad. And then Roy was like, I'm definitely going to pick him. So it was just, that was the kind of like, I had that antagonistic energy in class, but I don't know, I knew dialogue. I knew how people spoke. But I think a lot of it's to do because I was like, in my family, I didn't speak my language. So then I would like sit at family events and then I'd be like watching. You know what I mean? I can see that in hindsight. Like I would observe and I would like piece and I know how to pick tone and energy and I feel it because I have to. Do you know what I'm saying? So I think that's where it came from. And then I stopped and I picked it back up at 16 to get back in the game. But during that time I got into acting and I got into acting improv, which is actually writing on your feet. So then I was honing that skill set. So when I got back to playwriting again, it was easy.
Tell us about some of the improv, because I feel like that's such a fascinating skill. And I love how you said writing on your feet. Like that's a cool way of thinking about it. And I feel like improv almost demands so much from an artist in a way that other work doesn't. How would you, is there like a funny moment of improv that you did with a group or something, a story that you went through that you're like, oh, I remember that. And that was a moment where I was like, oh, I can write on my feet. I can actually do this.
I think we was messing about in class. And then Evelyn taught me and Marcus, they were just like, you guys are messing about. We was in the community class. Anna Sher, he's in the community class. Then if you're good enough, you get to the YPs, young professionals. And then like, he was just like, oh, like, you guys don't get it. And then they went on stage and they just acted. And I watched it and I was like, copy. I get it. I understand what you're doing. I understand. And then after that point, I got it because I needed to see it. To go, all right, cool, I get you. Yeah. What I love about it is that you just let it go. You're not holding on. I have moments that my friends remind me if I see them, go, oh yeah, I remember you brought out that iron. like, do you know what I mean? Like, as a prop. But I just had this rule, is like once you're in your head, you're dead.
Yeah.
So you just got, and also it's like what you said, like improv is yes and. So you can't reject. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, if someone says something crazy, you just got to go with it. Do you know what I mean? And you go, oh, yeah. And then also if someone doesn't know how to do it, I learned how to drive it. So say if you didn't know how to do it, I'll be like, yeah, like, why are you nodding like that? Why are you nodding like that?
And I'll have to respond. And because I'm agreeing with you.
About what?
I'm agreeing with you based on what you said about...
what exactly did I say then?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then,
and then you build.
You feel me? And then you clock how to like...
Yeah. And that's real dialogue too, right?
Exactly, because you're listening. Because
you're interrupting and listening. You're not just...
But then by doing that, you're playing a character that doesn't listen. Or listens too closely that they're hearing, they're not listening.
Yeah.
They're trying to find... And then so you're building that character through those interactions. And then you're honing it through the interactions and then you land. All right, cool, bang. So it's like... So that's how I kind of learned how to do it. It's more that... Yeah, it's hard to like describe like that.
Yeah. I don't know why I'm going down this road, but you mentioned it and I'm listening. So I was like, you said you're an Arsenal fan.
Yeah, go on.
I'm a United fan. You've been an Arsenal fan for forever. What's been your favourite team at Arsenal over the years?
Oh man, I'd have to say like my favourite was Adams, right?
Yeah. Keown,
Keown, Overmars, Winterburn. That was crazy.
Hala.
Let's look at 98. Like, come on, man. Petit. That was like, but that's when I fell in love. Do you know what I'm saying? I was like, these are my guys. Like, everyone was just firing. So I don't know. And also it's my local team, innit? So then it was just like, say as if we won a cup, the area was happy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like that's what it came from. It's like, say, there was a time when we didn't win a cup for 9 years and then we did FA Cup and I watched it at Holloway and all that kind of stuff. And then the next day it was all Arsenal fans outside the windows. People like, you know, in their dusty vans, the writing stuff on their dusty vans. It was just, everyone was happy.
Yeah.
Even if you weren't an Arsenal fan, you were just, the area was happy.
Yeah.
So it was a close connection. And then, I don't know, it was cool the fact that I could go to games. Like obviously the Carling Cup games because all the other games were hard to get. I went to Martin Keown testimonial actually, but like it was like I don't know. You just felt like a community. Like when they scored Highbury, the upper tier would just rock.
Yeah,
and you think it would break. So there's a bit of danger. You know what I'm saying? It was just like And then it's like my mum's friend used to give me tickets when she went away. So then I watched like wicked games or rubbish games, but I was part of it from like young. You know what I mean? You could get a ticket even if you couldn't afford it. You know what I mean? So I just fell in love with it during that age,
And you had a lot of happy days, but I think you had a lot of unhappy days as well.
Stress, bro. I don't want to put people out there because it's a public forum, but it was stress. It was stress. But like, I see like I'm a very child of Wenger. Like I can see I'm very stubborn. Like a lot of how Arsenal is in me. I feel like it's bigger than just football. Like they have a philosophy. Do you know what I mean? They have a style. That era had a style. They had a style, and I just respected it. Do you know what I'm saying? And I think it's going to a school in Islington, and the Islington team is the one. And then you're like literally looking at the Sun in the paper the next day in school, and then it's the Invincibles, and they're talking about your local team. I think it makes you think like, no, we're the guys at such a formative age. Do you know what I mean? So I think it's a bit of that.
Well, that's where I struggled because I always say this, that every Indian person that moved to England in like the 70s and 80s, i.e. my dad, they only support Manchester United or Liverpool because those were the big clubs at the time. Those were the clubs winning and everything. And so I support United because of that. I never lived in Manchester. And so I never had a happy day in the town because I used to almost have to like shy away from saying I was a United fan because I lived right in between Highbury and Spurs. So that's where I grew up in Wood Green, right in between. And so I never got to go out and celebrate in the town because I didn't live in Manchester. And so I always like grew up in fear of like, I can't tell anyone what I follow and like what I do. And
why isn't there a lot of Indian players in football? I've always wanted to ask.
That's a great question, and I think it's because a lot of parents don't, if an Indian kid told their parent they wanted to be a football player, I mean, I just got to look at these two and go, what do you think? What do you think the parents would have said? What do you think the parents would have said? Yeah, definitely not. No matter how good they were. I was telling Russell B, one of our mates, I'm calling him out here. His kid's like supposedly quite decent at football. And I told him yesterday, I was like, mate, you got to let this kid chase football, like chase the dream. And I don't know if, as a culture, I think our parents worked so hard and they wanted us to have safety. And so they didn't want the kids to do anything that felt unsafe. So acting would also be a no-go. You don't see that many South Asian people in acting. I mean, it's growing now for sure, especially the London scene. But acting, media, anything that was uncertain or unsafe, Indian parents generally were like, no. They didn't want us to be a part of it because they just wanted us to not have the struggle they did. And so they wanted us to feel safety, security. And so if you can get a good job, right? That makes sense? If you could get a good job that paid the bills, took care of you, they were happy. They just wanted you to be safe.
That's interesting. I'm interested in like how cultural values dictate what the paths are, because the demographic, there should be loads of it. Like if you look at it as demographically, do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Everyone plays at school and then it gets called off. Like I remember with my parents too, it's like they want you to play, they want you to be sporty, but they don't want you to take it that seriously. I had friends at my school that were amazing at cricket, like incredible cricket players that were playing for England under 21s, England under 18s, and then went off to be accountants because their parents wouldn't let them, like, follow the dream. And so it's really interesting seeing who pushes back through that as well. Like some people just go, no, I'm going to try anyway. And some people fold and let it go. But I'm hoping it changes. Yeah. I'm hoping it changes.
It'd be great too.
Yeah. What were some cultural things that you think held you back? I mean, you've talked a bit about the racism you experienced. For me, when I was hearing about that, I thought that doesn't sound easy when you add it to the other bullying and shaming you were talking about earlier. Like, what was it like navigating that?
What specifically?
Well, you talked about from what I've heard, what you've talked about is like, it took you a long time to realize that you felt darker than the people that you were around. Yeah. And so there was this and you felt that they made you feel bad for that.
When I got into secondary, and that was more predominantly black school, it's when I realized that I was darker than the average black person that I grew up around or I was around. And then they would tell me. It was a kind of culture shock, but then I was darker than a lot of people in my family. So then it was even, that made me feel a bit different. And so then I was just like, oh yeah, I don't really know what's going on. But then obviously like at that age, you're going through racism, but you're in a predominantly black space. You're going through colorism. And then like you go out of it and then, I mean like got good grades and start going to a different school, like a more middle class, upper class school. Then you see racism. But you see people do things, you're like, what's that? That's weird. what's that? What's weird? You haven't really felt like you've got the right to go, oh, that's that. You know what I'm saying? And you ain't got no one to talk to that understands what's happening. Then it just started getting a bit more. The more like kind of more into the workforce, the more that you would face it.
Yeah.
And the more asleep people are to it. And you go call it out. What I used to say is that like, because one time like I was not getting roles because of acting and that, and then I was like, oh yeah, I was making all these excuses. And then my agent at the time, who was Irish, and he was like, yeah, well, Daniel, it's because you're black. I said, what do you mean? He said, it's because you're black. He said, it doesn't happen to anyone else. You should be gay. It doesn't matter. You should be black. And I was like allowed to kind of like accept it. And then I would tell people it was racism and they kind of wouldn't believe me. Then when I said, oh, my Irish agent said it, they're like, oh, is it? So I realized when you're black, you feel, you don't have the disease, but you feel the symptoms, but you're not allowed to diagnose it. It has to be someone outside of yourself that says that's what's happening, and that means it's more valid. Do you know what I'm saying? Usually the people that it's come from, because you're seen as too biased because you have the symptoms. So that's what I realized about it. Like you're just going through it, you're like, oh, right, that's kind of nuts. I can't really even say it. And that's why subconsciously going, oh, yeah, if I say it, you go, he's got a chip on his shoulder. That's what it is, you got a chip on your shoulder, bro. Man, ain't no chips on my shoulder, bro. Like, do you know what I mean? It's nuts. Like, it's nuts what people say, and it's like, it's common. And people are like, and so I think that's what it is. You're like just navigating all of those things. Like, so it took me a long time to figure it out.
Yeah.
Well, I'm still figuring it out.
Yeah, I feel like that's something that you don't ever figure out, because it's like, I love how you described that. Never heard it described like that, but the idea of how, because you have the symptoms, you can't be the one to diagnose it, but you can't be the one to express it, which feels so difficult, because it's almost like, this is my reality, but you need someone else to validate your reality.
100%.
And that is a really interesting prison to live in.
All right, cool. So, Jay, like, what do you love in life?
What do I love?
Like,
Football.
away from like the family. Like, what do you love?
Football.
Love. Imagine
football.
if I come out and they go, all right, Jay, why do people don't like football?
Yeah, and I'd be like, yeah, I don't know. So
when people go, why do people don't like black people? Why would I know?
Yeah, you don't know, yeah.
So then that's what I'm saying. It's like, there's something, it's gaslighting.
Yeah.
At the same, because it's like, how am I supposed to, but then when I initiate it and say this has happened, I'm not believed. But then I'm supposed to report about it when it's happening to me from there to justify what they're doing. It's a whole, like, it doesn't really make sense what's happening. Yeah. If I go, this was happening, no, that's not true. And then they'll have a whole lawyer or someone like a professor that has a whole dossier. And then now if he says it, because he wrote 80 pages of waffle, they believe him. Yeah. But I told you. You're just saying that his word is worth more than mine. Yeah. And that is racism. I'll say this, it's just not worth anything to you. And I had to really learn that my word is worth something to me. To me. And so then like I just move like that. So I just don't really like kind of engage with the narratives, because it's just people just making up things that protect what they like about it. Because things are kept because they like something about it. Because they didn't, they'll get rid of it. They'll change the culture. You've seen how they change other things. Yeah. You change the culture. Yeah, there's something that it protects, I feel. Yeah, I find when I'm talking to you, I find that you've kind of really worked on like making peace with how you feel about yourself and how you feel about your views and how you feel about your art. Like there seems to be this autonomy and independence in saying, as you were saying earlier, even when you were given a bad grade, you were like, no, but I know this is good. And even what you were saying before, where you were like, it gave you space to fail in private because you were like, no, I know that I'm working on myself. So it feels like you've really worked on having this internal peace. How hard is that as your career kind of does the opposite, right? So it's like you're getting more and more focused on giving yourself peace, which is an amazing skill. Like I'm loving to see it on display, and I know everyone's going to appreciate seeing it. And at the same time, it's like you're doing bigger and bigger things. So you're more and more exposed to other people's opinions. How have you managed to, or how are you managing to continue to kind of hold on to that core of that 9-year-old and that 15-year-old? I mean, like, I think I always just have it. Like, it's just mine. Yeah. So it's not something, but I think it's like, what happens is how I I've done things that causes a ruckus or chaos in my sphere. And so like, you just got to accept that you're a bit chaotic. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
there's something, that doesn't mean that's you,
Yeah.
but there's something there that you have to look at. If it's nuts
Yeah.
like that, you have to look, okay, cool, like, where is that? Like, cool, what's that? And then you get closer to being cool with it, or then it will quiet down. But there's something that I'm not looking at. If it goes a bit mad, or you care too much what people think, do you know what I'm saying? It's like, you have to accept that. Just go, all right, cool, why is that? What's happening there? I feel like, but yeah, no, it's been, in the last few years, it's been wild. But like, it's been like, I've done it in a very quiet way. But it's been wild in the sense like what happens and stuff like that. But that's what happens. That like the narratives that I've been a part of are powerful, and like and the decisions I've made to like stand on things that I believe in, or even basically I like a lot of I know what I like, and I like what I like. If people don't like it, I'm like, you're entitled. Well, I would want to, if I care, I would want to know why you don't like it. But I like what I like, and I stand on the decisions I make, and I think then that spreads. I don't know, maybe that's a bit different to how people handle their careers in this day and age. So I don't know, but that's just me guessing. I don't have a big landscape on what every decision people are making.
Of course. Yeah. What does it feel like to see some of those like 9-year-old, 15-year-old dreams come true? Like, what does that feel like in reality? Like, what does that actually look like?
Calm, normal. I knew it. I know it. Like, minute I get the idea, I'm like, all right, cool, there, boom. That's when I get excited. All right, we on. Now let's work to it. So when you're working to it, when you get there, it costs so much, it costs so much. If you want something that like you really want, the price is so high that you're just a bit like, all right, cool. You're not seeing it as for the sheen that you saw in the perspective at 15, at 9. You're seeing it, all right, that cost me this, that cost me that. I had to wake up 4 a.m. here, I had to do this, that there, I had to grind here, I had to do this night shoot, I had to do this, you're seeing the cost it takes. You're feeling the cost it takes. So when you land and arrive, all right, cool, there was turbulence. Oh, you got here. I did. You just did.
Yeah,
do you know what I'm saying? And
yeah.
then, but the excitement comes from like feeling like you can do it before you see all of it. If that makes sense. Like the full kind of picture. Because you're only seeing the good, that's why you go there. But then like everything's balanced. That's all it is. It's not like it's bad. It's just like, it's everything.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that statement you just said. Like, you only see the good, that's why you go there. And then when you go there, you see all of it. But you realize that all of it was part of getting you there. It was never possible to get there without everything else. Like, it was never...
And part of it, you're only seeing the good because that like entices you. It's like what people say about sex, like how sex is like a way for your genes to keep going. Like it's a way, it's like the body has created this organism to keep going. So then you have this pleasure out of it. So it's like it's kind of like, oh, you got, oh yeah. And then when you go in there, I'm not saying sex is bad, like it's great. but like you go to full of it, you go and see the fullness of it. I find that when you go on those journeys, there's something about the badness in it that you have to face in yourself. And it's whether you take the lesson. And if you don't take that lesson, you will meet it again. You will meet it again until it lets you go. And then when you meet and accept it, sometimes you realize, well, I've realized that like, oh, I didn't even want that good now. Part of it was me figuring out something in me that I didn't really know that I wanted to figure out. Do you know what I'm saying? But like, it was probably the majority of it. Do you know what I'm saying? And the sex impulse told you go there.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? It's like, do that.
When did you get, you said when you haven't, I'm going to do a little bad impersonation, but you like, when you get the idea, it's like, boom. So where's the,
Definitely from Wood Green.
Yeah, definitely from Wood Green. Where's the, when did you get the idea for the kitchen? And like, because I know that project's taken a long time to come to life, right? Like, it's been like 8 years or something, like 7?
10.
10, yeah,
10,
all right.
10,
Yeah,
like, I got the idea in a barbershop in Holloway. I was sitting in the barbershop and then like these guys were talking about taking stuff, like these heists, £1 million heists and this is that and the other, and they were talking.
Well, they were talking about actually doing this.
Yeah, they were just chatting. I'm like, these guys are talking. And then like this, and they were saying, something was on the TV and they were like, yeah, that's us, that's us. Let's not do that. And then I was like, right, that's... And then in that moment, I was like, I'd love to see that film. Of people like going into like diamond stores and like robbing stuff. I was like, I'd love to see that. Just in the barbershop chilling because like my barber just kept on putting appointments before me, even though I made an appointment. So I'll be sitting there the whole half a day. And then like, so then I was like, oh, I'd love to see that. And then I never saw him again. Ever. And I was like, what happened to him? And he's like, yeah, he went. And then like, I was like, ah. I couldn't shake it. I was like, it was thrilling, but there was a cost. And I must have been like 22 in a barbershop. Like chilling. I was like, there's something about that. Then I did a bit more research and I realized that like, oh, they're getting paid like, they're stealing millions of pounds worth of diamonds, but they're getting paid £200. I was like, something in that. That says where we're at in this world and what's going on in London, where they don't even know the value of what they're robbing. They think it's worth 200 and they're willing to risk their life and their freedom for it. I want to know what's going on there. I just kept digging. So I just would go down there, and then I'm like where I grew up, like how we grew up, like obviously you do like the professional jobs, like you do like Harry and Paul and the Psychovilles and then that. But then I would have like a whole other career where we just make YouTube videos and we just compete with people and just make stuff. So then that was a time when like, because I wrote on Skins and stuff, and there was a time when they were like, oh, everyone wanted to do meetings and talk about what my ideas were, and I was like, I'm tired of these coffees, man. Like, and so then I was like, all right, and I got the team together, a director and a producer and that we was building with, and then like and then I was like, oh, let's just make it. So I asked my barber, who's in the film actually.
Oh,
and,
sick.
yeah,
I love that.
He's in the film, and then I asked him.
Is he a barber in the film?
No. He's just in the film constantly. He's one of the residents. He's one of the main residents. But this is why. So I went to barber. He closed on Wednesdays. So I was like, hey, bro, like, I beg you, let's use your shop. Because basically it started as Reservoir Dogs in the barbershop.
All right. Yeah,
so then I was like, hey, like, can we use your shop to shoot? He's like, yeah, of course. Then I like paying people. He said that over free. I was like, nah, man, like, please. And then he was like, obviously didn't have a budget. I think we like £200 each, and we just shot something. I got new actors in it, so I didn't need crew. And then like, and he was like, don't cut me out of this. Don't cut me out of this. I was like, nah, bro, I got you. He's like, nah, when it blows, keep me in. I need to stay involved. I said, nah, I got you. So that's how it kind of started. And then it evolved. It kept on evolving from then.
Wow. I love that. I love hearing how like ideas come about. And I appreciate that you have that memory. Did you actually sit down with people who'd done those heists? Or did you meet some people who'd actually gone through with it?
I met a couple guys that did stuff like that. And it was just like, I think I went there and it was like pretty simple at the actual heist. But it's like, for me, it was about the mentality, which I knew, I understood. But it was like kind of being around the people and understanding, just like hanging with them. And the people that have like in the news and XYZ, I chilled with them, and they were like this, that, and the other. But I think them kind of guys, like we understand each other, because I kind of go into the industry like, hey, listen, I'm just doing what I want. Like, I'm just gonna go in there, and I think that's the energy that they have. But yeah, no, they're interesting people.
Well, what did you learn about them? Do you feel they're just trying to survive, or they're sold a dream, or what's kind of motivating them to do that?
I don't know. I think they just do it because like it's part of the operation. It's what they do. It's what they know. It's their reality. That's what they know. Yeah. That's how they've chose to survive. Whether they've been the older brother or been the only boy in the family, or whatever the reason is that they've gone down that path, they did it, and they have a level of intelligence. That means they've been able to organize an operation and like talk to people and communicate and this and that, and they're like, but they're just doing that in this realm. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I found how they think more interesting than what they do. And that's what I wanted to explore in this, is like exposing the thought and the principles behind how they live and what their values are, and why and how it's connected to, and if people are really true to it. So basically, like someone like Staples in the film, he doesn't do anything criminal per se, yeah, but it's like he has the mentality and the values. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like, he's this guy, he thinks that the enemy isn't the other postcode or the other block. The enemy is the system. And he engages with them how we would see a kid like that engage with the other block. And the postcode. He goes, it's you lot. And he just engages with them like that. But that's a powerful energy. It's a powerful mentality. It's a leader. Yeah. So I kind of was just interested in that and how those people think and how that can be How can motor a kind of like a cultural identity. And I felt that kind of like London had that energy of like, bro, we do what we want. Like, if you're really from there, and I feel you have that energy, but you're just a monk and that. You know what I mean? You're like Zen. but you're like, hey, it's me. But it's that thing, you're like, but you're doing it for good things. But it's like, I think London, I always felt London was a special city.
Yeah, I do too.
A very special city, but sometimes our humility and the class ceiling, stops us from like doing what we want to do. Like people, there's a glass ceiling, and I'm like, it's made of glass.
You could break it.
It's
yeah.
it's made of get something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I feel like what I was around was basically what I grew up around was that mentality. We're gonna make it work. We're gonna make it happen, and not in an arrogant way. We just because we want it to happen.
Yeah.
We mean it. It's sincerity. We mean it. Like, we just want it to happen.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, it's more than us. And I feel like London. And then I've researched about London, about the Blitz, and how the mentality of like, when London was bombed for the first time, how like people were scared, and then after it, they were like, "Oh, we survived."
Yeah.
And how it built a resilience in the city, like a kind of resilience that I feel like is still here. But because of the class system and that keep calm, carry on mentality, we kind of squash it and like are very like regional with our dreams. We think, oh yeah, if we got this, then that's enough, because said person said that's all you can get. Who is this person? That's how I feel. Who are you to limit me? That doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah. Do you think people are scared to dream, or is it scared to, or they're accepting a limit, or what? How would you articulate?
One of the big moments I had, one of the big breakthroughs I feel in the script was like, randomly like, so like I did Black Mirror, I was like 22. 4 years later, like it blew in America, yeah.
Yeah,
so
huge.
then,
It's still, I mean,
it's not. It went nuts in America.
massive.
Netflix wasn't a thing. So
Yeah.
I did that. I did this TV show, and then I did a thing that croshed over in America. So I was in New York, and then like it was years after I did it. It was Mayweather Pacquiao fight around then. So I had a photo shoot. So I stayed at the photo shoot, and then I was like, oh, I've got to watch the fight here. So I stayed in this flat in Bed-Stuy, and I was chilling. And then I was in New York. Like I was in New York. I went to the church, went to the brunch. I was going everywhere. I was rolling, went to the parties, went to everywhere. And then I was walking around, and there's a massive poster of Biggie in Brooklyn. And I looked at it, I was like, they really love themselves. This is someone that's come from there, and they've pushed that. I don't think we wouldn't see our heroes of now on that pedestal, on that platform. We wouldn't see them as who they are majority of the time. It's like, I came back home, and I used to like go Cali Pool, but I used to run from my place to go Cali Pool. I used to get a lot of things from my jogs. So I'd run there, it's a 10-minute jog, and I would look around, I'm like, the same demographic as New York, literally same demographic. What's the difference? Why does New York feel like New York, and then London feels? And I was just running around, I was like, these guys don't believe in themselves. I'm gonna believe myself. And I think my career shifted, but also I think I just feel I want that for London.
Yeah.
I want that. We're global. We're playing world-class rent. I want world-class results from this city. Do you know what I'm saying? So like, but for whatever reason, we're just like going, no. It's like, I don't believe in that. I don't believe in that. And I feel like New Yorkers just decide, we're this. And I think if Londoners decide we're this, I think everything will flourish. And I think a lot of it came from that. If we're being honest about who we are, as opposed to kind of hiding and kind of suppressing and kind of this keep calm, carry on sheen that we're pretending to be, where we're actually, as a culture, very quite cocky or sure about who we are, what we stand for. Even the fact that like when you grow up in London, like you really still stay hanging out with your friends that you grew up with.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? It's like because that's what it is. You know what I mean? And that's is a level of conviction and values that I feel we're not honest about publicly. And I wanted more for London.
Yeah, I love that, man. I relate to so much of that as someone who considers myself through and through London, born, raised, university, school, everything. All my best friends are here, and obviously I don't live here anymore, but when I'm back, it's like, to me, London raised me, and you have that kind of affinity to this city in such a special way. But yeah, I feel similar to you that I feel often people think if you dream bigger or you think beyond or you are pursuing the limitless, it's almost seen as less than. It's seen as like, no, don't try that. Like it's not worth it. It's not worth it. Or when we feel we have to present ourselves to others, we're like, no, you shouldn't even have to do that. It should just happen. And it's like, well, no, sometimes it takes a bit of work and convincing and pushing the boundaries, as you're saying as well. And so I can relate to all of that. And I feel the same way. I feel the same way. London is fully global, and London has so much incredible talent in all these different industries. 100%. And I think it needs to be shared globally too. We don't need to stay just here.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. I think we've got a lot to say, and we've got an interesting perspective, and I want more of it. Like a lot of time I do things, I was like, come on in. And I may mess it up, but at least I went for it. At least I went for it, and I believed in it. And then hopefully someone after me refine it, so then I can learn something and I'll go for it. Like, do you mean it's like that's the whole point?
Just passing on the baton.
That's the whole point. Yeah. Like, just go for it. It's not about you. It's about your ideas, what you can hear and what you can let through. That's what this is, man. And so, what are you doing? Like, what are you listening to? What radio station you listen to? What ideas you letting out? That's how I see it.
Yeah. How do you I'm intrigued. I loved how you talked about how the idea for the kitchen formed. How do you get curious and critique your own ideas? Because I'm sure you have ideas popping at you all the time.
Yeah.
How do you kind of like filter it down to be like, oh, this is an idea that I really love versus I'm going to park that, I'm going to take that from here. Like, walk me through what's happening in your mind. Because I feel like when you do have an idea that you're sure of and you go, yeah, that's the one, it seems so clear, but I'm guessing you have a million ideas before you get that.
It's clear when you know it's clear.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I think in that time, it's like, before the true clarity, it's like, you just can't shake it off. You can't stop thinking about it. You can't stop thinking about it. You keep going. And then it goes, oh, I got to do it. And what I really, truly, there's loads of ideas, but I read like loads of ideas, but then like someone ends up doing it. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like, and then you're like, when someone ends up doing it, I get really happy. I'm like, oh, cool, I don't have to do it. They did it. Like, I don't see it as mine. It seems what I hear and what I can see. Like, I think Noel Gallagher said in an interview one time, like in Desert Island Disc and that, he said, like, they asked him about, like, I can't remember, Wonderwall, one of them songs he made. They were like, what's it like? He said, it's like fishing. And you go in there by the shore and you're just waiting, and just, whoa. You feel me? Or Michael Jackson described it one time where, like, he was saying how, like, he was writing a song and they were like, oh, Michael, like, go bed. Like, you're tired. He's like, I can't. He said, Michael, go bed. Like, can't. Like, why? And he was like, I can't, because if I go bed, God will give the song to Prince. And they you get it. Like, it's not mine. It's what my expertise, my hours, my perspective, I may have an idea, but I'm not the right, haven't had the right upbringing to really actualize it. Like, it's all these factors that come to you letting it through. Do you know what I'm saying? So, like, I could see things, I go, yeah, that's a great idea, but I'm like, I'm not sure if I'm able to give that. So a lot of time when I act in that, how I define it a lot of time is there's stuff I want to say and there's stuff I want to help people say. Acting is me helping someone say something, because I'm like, oh, I really want to say that too, but I haven't got time to like get there. Do you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, all right, cool, I help you say it because I believe in it. So like, well, this is like, oh, okay, no, stuff I realize, oh, I am the one that is supposed to say this. I can say this. And then you have to check yourself and go, oh, how much are you thinking about yourself? How big is your mentality? Or like, it could be limiting, or like, you mean, there's a whole process. That's why it's taken me time. But I think when I did Skins, when I wrote on Skins, I had a thing that in my career, like, I was like, all right, cool. Do I want to be a great singer or do I want to sing great songs? Yeah. And I think my career shifted when I was like, I want to sing great songs. And then I realized in that process, you become a great singer. So when Skins, when you're inheriting characters, you're singing a great song, essentially. And then I realized in this process, I've had to learn how to make a song. You know what I'm saying? How to create a character, how to create relationship design, how to create structure. Like, you have to learn all that in order to get it to the standard that I like. You know what I'm saying? It's not, you can release it, but I wouldn't, because I have a higher standard for myself and the stuff I like. And I want me and my friends to like what I make or what I help someone make.
I love what you said, man. And it's so interesting. Like when I'm listening to someone speak on the podcast, I'm always just trying to like sense like what energy kind of connects everything they're saying. And every time you speak and every time the way you answer stuff is counterintuitive in a good way, because I hear peace and calm through all of it. Like even for you to just say right now that when someone makes something that I had an idea about, you accept that with peace, that, oh, that's not my idea. It wasn't meant to be mine. Where a lot of us see someone make an idea come that we maybe one day had randomly and we're like, they did my idea. Like, I wish, I could have been the person or whatever. We often feel a bit of competitiveness, comparison, and you have actually the opposite where it's a sense of peace and like, actually that's great for them, good for them.
I'm
and
happy they made it because I want to see it.
Yeah.
I want to see it.
Yeah.
Like I want to see it. Like, and it's like, it's the reality of like, oh yeah, like, I'm the one to make the idea in that certain kind of level. That cost a lot. Like, so if someone does it and they wanted to pay the price, I'm gonna sit front row and be a fan of it. Do you know what I'm saying? Like back then I'd buy the DVD. Do you know what I'm saying? I would support it because I'm just happy it exists.
Yeah.
I'm just happy. I just want things to exist. I think the world that we kind of come into is really fake. And then everyone's just saying, this is this is that. I'm like, it's just people decided that. I just decided something different. And I think other people just decide something different. And I love seeing people make decisions.
I know you know this, and I hope you know this. That is beautiful, man. Like that mindset is like top notch. That's another level of thinking.
I wouldn't see it that way, but I hear you. I accept that.
Yeah,
I'm learning how
I'm
to
just
say
sharing
thank
it with
you.
you. Yeah. I'm just saying
Appreciate
it to you. I love that because I think if we could all live in that way, where we could all be happy for what bringing things into existence.
Yeah, man.
Whether it's brought by us or brought by others, that's a beautiful state to live in.
To make something that doesn't exist to exist is incredible. I think it's insane.
Yeah.
So I used to have this mentality back in the day. People used to think I was like, everyone thought I was nuts or whatever. But be like, I mean, someone said, oh, you can't do this. I'm like, a man and a woman have sex, yeah, and they make a baby. That is so incredible.
It's insane.
It's like, I just don't you think that's the most insane?
It's insane, but
that's really difficult to have. Like, it's really difficult.
Yeah.
For us, it's a really difficult thing. It's a difficult process.
Yeah.
It's all these other 1,000 guys that are trying to get in there too. You know what I'm saying? You're coming in like, hey, I'm here. Like, I don't know. It makes me. I celebrate simple things. Like I remember at school, I used to look up in the sky. I can't lie. This interview is making me realize I was a special kid. But I look at the sky, and go, bro, like, don't you think it's sick that planes can fly?
Yeah, but
I'll be like, it's so heavy. Yeah. It's so heavy. There's so many people. There's so many bags. What's going on? Like I was just going at this playground. I'm like, what's going on here? This is wild. Yeah. And I just think that's one of the most amazing things ever. Like that's why I always wanted to fly on the Concorde, and I never got around to it because it got done by the time I got there. But even at there was a faster one. Wow. Like, do you know what I mean? It's just like
to marvel at
it's a wow because it's common. It doesn't mean it's still not wow.
Yeah.
And I think because there's a lot of it, people then disregard its specialness because there's a lot of it.
Yeah.
I just don't do that.
Yeah. We've lost that experience of awe and fascination when you have things that surprise you because everything around you is making the most difficult things look easy. Yeah. Like AI, VR, like, I mean, today, you could go on and on. Like everything's becoming so accessible. Yeah. And the editor of this kitchen, we call it Island. When you're staying in Is. Yeah. This is what it is. Like, and then like, so when you're in Island, that is amazing. Cause a big metal box that has 300 people with like 800 kilos of luggage going from San Francisco to London is incredible. That is amazing. And I just I always go, oh, where am I? I'm in Island. Am I there? Because then you're in just perception land or whatever you think it is or whatever your past pain or whatever all this crap. Not crap is valid. But like, you just stay in that. Yeah. It's powerful. With your mindset and the amount of calm and peace there is in your life internally, you're thinking like a monk, honestly. Are you sure? Yeah. Yeah, because it's the mindset piece, man. It's the mindset. I'm not guessing up. It's the mindset piece. Like, when I asked you, every question I've asked you, the things that have come out of your mind, your mouth, peace and calm. And it's come naturally. It's not like you're trying to be Zen. Like it's just coming out because that's where you're trying to live. And so that's what it means. Like in the modern day where, you know, we're not trying to live a particular monk life in that sense externally, but there's a sense of peace within, there's a sense of calm within. And I love seeing it in other people. I always say one of the other people I saw it in during an interview was Kobe Bryant. Like when I sat with him and I interviewed him, he had so much gravitas and so much calm and zen around him. And he wasn't spewing like verses or trying to sound, you know, spiritual. He wasn't doing that, same way as you're not doing that. But it was a natural part of that about their presence.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
So I respect it. I love seeing it in other people.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean that. I want to dive into, and I love this idea about what is and what isn't, and what could have been, what should have been, what would have been. And a lot of us live in that what if someone's listening right now and they're listening to you, and I know this for a fact, anyone who's listened to you this far today, if you're still listening to the episode, which I know you are, I know that people are going to be moved. I know people are going to be inspired. I know there's a lot of people going to be going, oh my God, I didn't know he'd been through all of that. And, you know, like skins and like just writing and the challenges and the stress. What would you like people to know about you that maybe you think they don't know, or understand about you that maybe you've never really been able to talk about or share or express?
I don't know, because I struggle with like my perception. Like I don't really, because a lot of the fame, it's not like I chose to be this famous. It kind of came as a product of the work, and it was a surprise product. Like I did a film, and then a year later I was at the Oscars. I mean, so it was like, whoa. I'm not really, I think I get the vibe where I'm like, people don't get me in America anyway. And then in England, I think people do get me, but they still, because they get me, they don't understand how I've done it. I'm not really, I'll keep it real. I've learned how to not be as invested in how people perceive me, but I just not invested in it, because then you're consistently there, innit? Like that, curate it. Like I've been there. It's like I'm not sitting there like mine's holier than thou. Like I've been there. I've been in it, trying to look a certain way. I mean, like I was just like, what? Was I happy? No. So like, don't know. But if if you want to go ask questions, and I'll be open to, and I'll be able to elaborate. I would love to. Do you know what I'm saying? But for me, I don't go like, because if I've really engaged with people's mentality, I could not get to where I've got to. Yeah. I could not get to where I've got to. So that's what a lot of that is in that.
Yeah.
That kind of being so like, that's what I think. Do you know what I'm saying? But I'm open. At the same time as well. Do you know what I'm saying?
No. I get what you're saying, and I don't. You know, I think that it's tricky, because you're right that you can either get so lost in cultivating and crafting and curating how you're perceived, and then still people won't perceive you that way, even if you do all of that. Yeah. Or you can kind of let it go, and it kind of flows in its own direction, and then you've made peace with that, which I think is probably the healthier option, because at least you can live and breathe.
I'll give you an example, right? Yeah. So I remember like I didn't really, like I came in this game, like I didn't watch films. I watched like Batman and Robin. So I'm just living life. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm a kid.
You're talking about Val Kilmer.
Yeah. We're talking George Clooney. Yeah. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, we're talking like that. Like, just I'm watching life, like films that come out. You know what I mean? So when I got into the industry, I was like talking about this art house film, this, that, and the other. And I remember HMV had this deal where you can like buy £1, £2 films. So I just buy loads of films, and I would just watch all the people that people spoke about, like the legends, like Meryl Streep, Daniel Day-Lewis, like Shane Meadows, Paddy Considine, like all these people that people were like around that time, around 2007, that people were just obsessed about. Like I watch thing, and then I would go, oh, like, all right, cool, I watch your acting performance. Like, okay, you're clearly really good at what you do, but so what? Like, what for? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I realized I cared more about that than how great you were at something that was aimless or purposeless. Then I realized great didn't mean anything. Being really great at your job, being really good didn't mean it had no emotion to it. So that some person's really great. Then I'd watched all those films, and I went for that. And then what happens when you go for that is a bit of a prison, because then you watch your work back and you're just critiquing yourself. You're not enjoying it. you're just critiquing in your head. Then I had to go, yo, I can't keep doing this. I can't, every time I do a job, just kind of, because I always used to be that improv, like, think about the whole week. I'll do it improv the whole week. I should have done this. I should have done that. I should have done this. All right, next week I'm gonna go this. I messed up. and I was like, this isn't enjoyable. And then I got to a place where I was like, oh, don't try and be good. Try and be honest. Like, what I say, truth is what happened. Honesty is how you feel about what happened. So that's how I felt. Like I was just like, yo, like this is what I feel like. And the minute I go for something that's honest, I'll do something at work, and then a year later you watch it back, and you're in a completely different space that you was a year ago, and you wouldn't have done it that way. But I just go, that's how I felt.
That's the honesty at that point.
That's how I felt. That's where I was at. If I can't, it's not now. Time is as important as you. Like, it's not like the time is there. The time where you was at got you there. Yeah, and a lot of jobs is like, I'm the best person for the job after the job. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like, and you have to make peace.
The amount you grew.
Because the amount you grew, because you learned how to do it.
Yeah.
And now you go, if you give me now, and it's like a annoying thing to be in. So, but it's like, you have to go, that's how I felt.
Yeah.
I was honest. If I was honest, I can always walk away and go put my head up. Like, that's how I felt.
Yeah.
And so that's what I go for, like, in terms of everything. I go, yo, that's where I'm at, man. That's how I feel, man. It's like, and then, and then if I say something different for years later, like, oh, you know, I grew in it. It's like, I went through something, and then my mentality and something shifted. I changed my mind. So it's not like, that's how, really what I engage with now is just going, you know, like, any other, like, micromanagement of my perception, I'm too meticulous for me to really go in that lane, because then I will really micromanage it. So then I was like, well, just be real. And then, and people that get it will get it. People that don't, that's what they're supposed to do. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad I asked that question, because I love where you took it. And I think what I'm intrigued by what you said is what are the projects that you're now, and I don't mean specifics, like I don't need you to name stuff that you're working on, but what is it that you want your work to mean today as you are writing, as you're producing, as you're now in charge of the story? Obviously, you've been selective over roles you've played, but I mean, now that you're telling your own stories, writing your own stories, producing them, which you've been doing since day one, but now doing it at this level, what do you want it to mean? What do you want people to feel? What are the things you'd like people
I want people to feel, I don't think I can manage it, because that will rob them from their experience, right? But what I want people to feel about the stuff I make, writing, producing, directing, anything I do in my life, is to go, someone to take it in, call their friend and go, hey, you seen this? This is mad. Like, and they get points from their friend because they have shared something that, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? It's like, you know, there's a song that's amazing and they're like, this is mad. And then now forever,
you're going to rate that.
Like, you're going, oh, I introduced you to that. Do you know what I'm saying? You feel like, like I got that. Like, I want my work to feel like that. I want it to feel, to share it, there's an excitement, there's a crackle to it. Like, I want there to be like, I want it to be shareable, because I do think sometimes in a lot of work is there's stuff you share and there's stuff you don't. Yeah. It could be as good as great as you want. There's stuff that you want to share, there's stuff you don't want to share. It's a lot of depressing stuff I do not want to share, but they are excellent. It's incredible. But you just, you know what I mean? And you take it, what you take into for whatever reason. And I do love the fact that people go, yo, this makes me feel something. This makes me want to move. You know what it is? I want to make music that makes people want to dance. And what I mean by that is like, kind of like, you can't intellectualize why someone dances. You know what I'm saying? It's just, they move. You know what I mean? And I want to just move people to go, I'm going to do that, or I want to do this, or like, I want to share this. I want to, there's something that comes after it. That means that's bigger than any adjective. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Because a lot of times, a lot of people's feelings are just adjectives. There's stuff that you say on Twitter, and not stuff that's what you're actually feeling. So that's where I'm at, really.
That. Great answer, man. Great answer. The reason why I love that is when I first made my first ever video, and people said, "Why did you make it?" I said, because I wanted someone to send it to their friend and say, "That's what we were talking about."
Yeah, that's
Like, that's
amazing.
what we were talking about, and
Yeah,
I didn't know how to. We didn't know how to, but that video helped explain
Yes.
what I was going through. But Daniel, you've been amazing. I've got a final 5. We do this with every guest. These final 5 have to be answered in 1 word to 1 sentence maximum.
Yeah.
So Daniel, these are your final 5. The first question is, what is the best advice you've ever heard, received, or given?
I've got one professionally, but I've got one personally. I used to reject it as a kid, this advice, but now I'm older I get, the more I'm realizing how much. My mum is always saying everything matters. Everything little matters. And I would I wouldn't focus on details. And then now I'm older, I'm realizing the detail isn't about the detail. This is about what it says about you and how easily you can show up on everything else if you just practice simple details. And she goes, everything little matters. She says, everything little matters. I think that.
I love that. That's great, man. We never had that, and I fully agree. All right, question number 2. What is the worst advice you've ever heard, received, or given?
I can't remember specific, but I can remember how it made me feel and how I reacted to it in my head when they said it. When they basically were just saying, accept less. Basically what the principle was. And I think I just erase it when people say that. I go, you're not supposed to this or that person deserves. Basically, that person deserves more. I think everyone deserves more.
I love that.
Do you know what I mean? It's not like I just believe.
That's nice, yeah.
So if you decide that you want more, then you can get it. If you don't, then chill.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's not like, and I feel like when people are subconsciously communicating a hierarchy that they win out of, that doesn't benefit me, I just go, you're chatting rubbish. But like, I think it's accept less.
Love that. All right, question number 3. What's the first thing you do when you wake up and the last thing you do when you go to bed?
Pray.
What's the prayer?
Just thanks. I got into that. I used to do it as my mum as a kid. She made me read the Bible every night. Used to read a proverb a day. They got like 31 chapters in that. I used to read it as a kid. And then, I don't know, I got into a place. I was just like, nah, man. There was one time I had to audition. I really wanted this audition. I weren't really on all that. And I really wanted this audition. I just prayed. I'm like, who am I chatting to? What is going on here? Like, I was in New York. I remember I really wanted it. I was like, why did I feel to do that? And I just ignored it, just kind of carried on my life. It's like 2016, 2015. Yeah. I was like, yeah. And then I think I got to a place and I was like, you know what? It makes me just stay. Yeah, man. Thanks. Focus on what I thank and what I'm grateful for. And then humility. Because my ego can get wild sometimes, so it teaches me how to just chill and listen to myself. Yeah, I think God's in you. I don't think God's above you. It's not Big Brother. 1984.
I love that. I'm going to take that as question 4 because I followed up. 5th and final question. If you could create one law in the world that everyone had to follow, what would it be?
If you have been proven in one way, shape or form to hate someone or a group of people, your punishment is to live with them for a year. Anyone, even Twitter hate, anything. Go on then. You do that's 9 to 5 or whatever, boom, boom, boom. You go live with them for a year and just be in there. I think that's just off top. I really
Yeah, that's a great answer, man. Yeah, I like that a lot.
Yeah, that's what that is.
I like that you went there. That's a great answer. It's dope.
There you go, man. Appreciate it.
Daniel, appreciate you, man.
My
Thank
guy.
you so much. Thank you, man. If you love this episode, you'll really enjoy my episode with Selena Gomez on befriending your inner critic and how to speak to yourself with more compassion.
My fears are only going to continue to show me what I'm capable of. The more that I face my fears, the more that I feel I'm gaining strength, I'm gaining wisdom, and I just want to keep doing that.